Today, we are unpacking a silent movement in the financial world, one that is entirely focused on protecting wealth in an age of growing uncertainty.
Something strange is happening right now in the global markets, and honestly, most people are just completely ignoring it.
While everybody else is busy chasing stocks, crypto, and those quick day trading profits, the truly smart investors, they are quietly moving toward gold. They aren't doing it loudly, and they definitely aren't doing it emotionally. They are doing it strategically.
So, what exactly do they see that everyone else is missing? Well, history has a clear pattern, and those who understand that pattern, they get ahead while everyone else just reacts way too late. Let me show you how this works. Every time uncertainty rises, every time markets start to feel unstable, and every time trust in the financial system begins to shake, gold doesn't panic. It just waits, and then it moves.
Think about the world we are living in today. Inflation is on the rise, our currencies are losing purchasing power, and global debt levels are just exploding. And the central banks? Well, they are printing more money right now than ever before in history.
But here is the real catch with all of that. The more money that gets printed, the less each individual unit is actually worth, which means your hard-earned savings are silently losing value literally every single day. You probably don't feel it immediately, but it's happening. It's happening slowly, quietly, and very consistently.
Now, here is where gold gets really interesting, because gold isn't just a shiny metal. It's a fundamental store of value. We are talking about thousands of years of history here. Across empires, through wars, and during massive economic collapses, gold has survived it all. Entire currencies came and went, governments changed, whole systems collapsed, but gold, it remained. And that's exactly why the smartest investors are watching it so closely right now. Because when trust disappears, people don't run toward risk, they run towards certainty.
Let's break this down a bit. When markets are booming, people tend to ignore gold. Why? Because they want fast returns. But when uncertainty increases, fear enters the system, and suddenly, safety becomes way more important than growth. That is exactly when gold shines. Not because it grows the fastest, but because it protects your wealth. And right now, we are seeing these signals everywhere. Central banks around the entire world are buying gold at record levels. You have to ask yourself why. It's because they don't fully trust their own currencies. Just let that sink in for a second. The very institutions responsible for printing money are actively hedging against it.
So think like a smart investor for a moment. If the exact people who control the money supply are moving their assets into gold, shouldn't you at least be paying attention?
There is another layer to this too. Geopolitical tensions are rising globally. Countries are actively shifting their alliances, trade wars are increasing, and overall global uncertainty is growing. In times exactly like these, gold becomes a neutral asset. It's not tied to any one specific country, any single government, or any one financial system. It simply holds its value.
And that neutrality is incredibly powerful, because in a world that is absolutely full of uncertainty, certainty becomes very, very expensive.
Now, let's talk about the psychology behind this. Most people tend to invest emotionally. They chase the hype, they follow the latest trends, and as a result, they react late. But those smart investors, they prepare early. They don't sit around waiting for panic to set in. They position themselves long before it ever happens.
And that is exactly what we are seeing play out right now. It is quiet accumulation. You won't see it in the flashy headlines, and there's no hype. It's a silent movement. Here is a key point that most people completely miss. Gold doesn't need excitement. It doesn't need a slick marketing campaign. It moves when the economic conditions demand that it moves. And right now, those conditions are building. Slowly, yes, but very steadily.
So, you might be sitting there wondering, is gold going to just explode tomorrow? Well, probably not. But honestly, that's the entire point. Gold is not about making massive overnight gains. It is about long-term protection. Think of it like insurance. You don't buy an insurance policy to make a profit. You buy it so you don't lose everything you've built.
That requires a major mindset shift. The smartest investors out there are no longer asking, how fast can I grow my portfolio? Instead, they're asking, how well can I protect it? Because in unstable economic times, protection essentially becomes your profit.
Let's look back at history one more time. During major financial crises, gold has consistently performed well. And it's not because it's magical. It's simply because people trust it. Trust is arguably the most valuable asset in any economy. And right now, trust is looking pretty fragile. People don't fully trust their governments, and they certainly don't completely trust the markets. When that trust declines, gold rises.
So, the real story here isn't just about gold as a metal. It's about what gold represents in today's world. It represents a hedge against fear and uncertainty, and it provides protection. Smart investors don't just ignore these massive macroeconomic signals, they follow them. But here is the biggest mistake that most everyday investors make. They wait. They wait for official confirmation, they wait for it to hit the mainstream headlines, they wait until the trend is completely obvious. But by the time it's obvious to everyone, the real opportunity is already gone.
That's why the smart money moves early. They don't do it aggressively, but they do it intelligently. They diversify their portfolios, they allocate their assets wisely, and they prepare.
They do this because they deeply understand one very simple, timeless truth. Wealth is not built in chaos, it is protected through it.
So where exactly does that leave you? Really, you have two choices here. You can ignore all these signals and just hope that everything stays perfectly stable, or you can pay attention, understand the fundamental shift that's happening right now, and position yourself wisely.
Remember, the goal of investing isn't to perfectly predict the future. The goal is to be ready for whatever that future brings. And right now, gold is quietly telling us a very clear story.
The real question is, are you listening? Because the smart investors already are. They aren't waiting around, they are preparing. And maybe, just maybe, you should be too.